What's up, Bars Nation? This is Kimron Korean, and we are back with Dropping Bars. Welcome back to the Dropping Bars podcast. And today I'm just here chopping it up with my very good friend Lynn Abraham Edwards. Yeah, Lynn is a very dear friend of mine. We've known each other for a very long time. And Lynn, and I just felt like, hey, Lynn, why don't you just come and drop in bars and just let's catch up a little bit. Let's chop it up a little bit, let's just talk, So Lynn is here, and we're having a conversation. For those of you who don't know, Lynn has her own show, Get Real Mondays. It's a live, and it's every Monday, and you can check out her page, All Things Lynn. Lindsay Abraham on Facebook, and you can check out, Get Real Mondays. So Lynn, welcome to the Dropping Bars podcast. This is your first time on.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm honored. When the time coming, boy, Lord, Dropping Bars go global. I've reached.
Well, you don't know.
Well, already, though.
You don't know. We put it in the work. So,
exactly. That's
so Lynn, tell me, how you doing?
Well, but I ask these questions on this question in particular to start off Get Real Mondays every Monday. How are you doing? And I say,
you know what? Maybe subconsciously, I knew that. Hence, I ask you in particular. So it's possible. It's possible because generally I don't ask people that.
How they going, But
yeah, I don't.
And I think it's like a very important question. The reason why I started asking it is because, we in the Caribbean, we like to say, how you going? You're good, girl? And everybody, Ade. In Grenada, we can say, Ade, I'm good, or whatever. And a lot of the times, we don't really pay attention. We're not really mindful to the truth of how we're feeling and what we're doing. And with being more cognizant of our mental health, I think that question, we must really and truly try to answer it to the most honest extent ever. So I like to encourage that. So if you ask me how I'm doing now, I'm good, but when I tell you I'm tired, I have a lot of little things going on in my head, but in the grandest scheme of things, I'm good. I've had those days.
That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So I mean, for anybody in the Bars Nation who do not know who Lynn is, tell me who is Lynn Abraham? When people ask you to introduce yourself, what do you normally say?
Because I don't live in Grenada, the first thing I would say, I'm a spice girl.
Yep. Spice up the Caribbean.
You're gonna hear me say something about Grenada. So of course I'm a Grenadian. I'm from Mount Horn. So for people who know me from Grenada, I'm proud to be from Mount Horn. So I'm from Mount Horn. If you say who is Lynn, I am just someone trying to discover what it means to be authentic, what it means to live an authentic life, and to possibly help other people discover that, to be as real as possible. Because what I've found is, throughout our years, we'd have been bamboozled into thinking life is one thing, and then we get into adulthood, and we're like, this is the worst hood possible. So yeah. I felt it as if it was my personal mission to prepare people to come into adulthood with the most real expectation ever. So that's anywhere I go as a trainer. I was a trainer for Digicel. Now I'm onto other things. That was always my thing, to prepare people for the realness of life. For the most part, I'm a friend. Those are the things. These are the let's say these are the positions in life that I hold dear. Being a really, really good friend.
Yes, I could testify to that.
Yeah. Being a really good friend. Being a born sister. I'm very protective of my siblings. Being a great wife and surrogate mother. Those are the things. Being a Christian.
Yes.
That's
important.
That's Lynn. In a nutshell.
That's it. In a nutshell. Amazing. So let's. I want to ask you a question. Mm-hmm. In the last week or so, did you come across anything interesting that you felt like, wow, that was a bar, that was a major life lesson for me, or just anything you found interesting?
So, funny that you're gonna ask that, because I'm battling with one of those bars. Because some of those bars, I like to call them insights. I like that you call them bars; makes it more.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is dropping bars, right? So
dropping bars. So one of the bars was that you create the reality that you live in. Like right now, everything that you're happy about, everything that you're unhappy about, everything that you're displeased with, you had part in creating it. So if you want to change it, you have to change it. You can't sit down and wait and say, let somebody else come. Nobody come in and rescue you from the reality that you created. You created this. Everything that you're living in, you created this. I understand that, like, we would live in this world and we'll have things that we're not in control of. We're not in control of the situation, but we're always in control of our reactions to the situation. And what gives meaning to the situation is us and how we react to it. So I know we like to live in the whole thing where, oh gosh, woe is me, and it happened to me, and this thing happened, and we're the victim, the eternal victims, because it's hard to face the reality that we have ourselves, for the most part, barring things like abuse and these things, we are in control, and we would have created this reality. And if I want to kind of make it personal, one of the things that I'm struggling with is weight loss, right? And I would go back through pictures and sometimes years before. I'm a strong girl, apparently. I was going to the gym and lift big things, hundreds of pounds and everything. And I would go back through the years, and for as long, maybe about 8 years now, I think I fat. But then when you go back through the years, you realize you are not as fat as you would like to say, as you would have believed at that point in time. But because you believed that you were, you started acting as if you were, you stopped taking control of the things that you could have control, like what you put in your mouth and being consistent in the gym. And you created the reality of a bigger weight. That's just the reality of it. If you want to change it, you have to change it. And no magic potion going and change it. There's no shortcut to it. Just the 8 years it takes to create it is the 8 years, or maybe even, it might take less, but it's the effort. You have to put in the effort for yourself. So what I learned is that you created the reality you're living in. If you want something, you can create it out of your life.
And that's really interesting, because when you said that, what came to mind is that we have to be responsible for our life, be responsible for the things that are happening to us, and we have to understand that despite what is happening, look at, okay, what is the and you mentioned like certain situation might happen to you that you may not be in control of. You mentioned abuse and whatever, right? And while you may not, it may not be your responsibility that, or it's your fault, that you're being abused per se, right? However, you want to look at, okay, so this is happening. What do I need to do about this? How do I react to this situation? Do I sit down there and take it? Or you might want to look at yourself and say, okay, what is it about me that this person feel they can hit me and leave to see another day? Right? Why this person feel they can take this kind of liberty with me? And not only that, when I hear you speaking, I'm also hearing that, okay, we also have to take certain responsibility for our action, and not only just our action, but for the role that we play in certain situations that we get ourselves in. Because sometimes we in a situation, like me and you might have a falling out. We're good friends, but we have a falling out. And I'm going around telling everybody, Lynn bad mind, and Lynn did this to me, and Lynn did that to me. And without looking back and say, okay, well, what did I do to cause Lynn to react in that particular way to me? And maybe when we do some introspection, you might realize that, oh, snap, Lynn may have reacted that way because of this thing that I did. But I'm not saying that, because I'm not looking at myself. I'm looking to blame everybody else without looking at, okay, what is my role in this situation?
Correct.
And so that's something. Yeah. I completely agree with you, and with what you said. Like, it's so wide.
It's wide. But the
Yeah.
thing is, right, I wanted to make sure, because I don't want anybody to think we're being insensitive to abuse or anything like that. Like, we understand the processes that happen when someone is in like continuous and long-term abuse. That's why in short I say it's like different for abuse, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not as automatic to come out of those situations. So
Yeah.
barring things
True.
like that, I don't want anybody to think we're insensitive and we're not, the cycle of abuse and we don't understand it. For sure, we do. I mean, there are instances where before it gets into that, you can maybe some people, sorry, would have gotten up before it went into the cycle. But
Yeah.
for someone
Yeah.
who's in the cycle, of course, we understand it might be a little more, it is, not might be, but it is a little more difficult. Something that you said, Kimron, again, people we're into the victim mentality. So we love to think about what they did and not necessarily our responsibility in it. Something that could lull us into this mindset is social media and the use
Yes.
of social media. I ain't gonna say what situation came to my mind when we was talking about it, but I have seen people create this thing that makes them so unhappy, then go on social media, brand themselves as the victim, get all the sympathy of being the victim, and then go ahead and just create this thing that they say they do not want.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we're living in a world now where we need to be careful with not just how we view life, but how we react to it. And we sometimes need to remove ourselves from situations, analyze the situation before even going to social media.
I agree with you, because social media has become like the de facto thing that before anything happens, we want
Yeah.
to run to social media for whatever reason, to get attention, to
Yeah.
seek whatever. And I mean, in many instances, I genuinely believe that if I am dealing with something serious in my life, that's causing
Keep
me a
it
lot of
away
pain
from
or
them.
whatever, I keep it away from social media. Social media is the one place I'm going to keep it away. Now, here's the thing about social media. It doesn't matter what you put out there. It doesn't matter what your thought process is. It doesn't matter what you believe. You will find somebody who believes the same thing that you believe,
Correct.
who will support whatever foolishness you put out there. And
Right.
in many cases, those things are not healthy, because when you're supposed to be getting sometimes good and constructive advice, you start getting sometimes feedback and comments and
Mm.
engagement from people that first of all, they don't care about you, and they don't care
One.
about whatever you're going through. Two, they're just trying to fuel the fire to get more information about
Right.
what it is. And three, it's just attention.
Correct.
All right. And mind you, I'm a social media strategist. I work in the social media space, and I could definitely tell you that in many cases, when you put your problems or whatever out on social media, generally you don't get the kind of support and help that you really need, because
Need.
the social media psychologists and the social media therapists, and so they in many cases they don't have your best interests at heart. No, I hasten to add that sometimes you can't really tell somebody how to react to something, or how to deal with something that they're going through. And in
Correct.
many instances, social media could genuinely be that therapeutic outlet for that person. Maybe they've been holding it in for a long time and they just want to let
Right.
it go. And maybe they let it out on social media and they feel much better afterwards. Maybe sometimes I want to talk to you, not because I want you to tell me what to do, but
Mm.
I just want a
I
listening
just
ear.
want you to listen. Yeah.
I just want, and so sometimes for some people, social media could be that thing. So in a case like that, I'm not gonna be against anybody who's doing that. But if you're not doing it genuinely, because it's just a real genuine therapeutic outlet for you, then I would say, you might want to keep some of your stuff away from social media, because not everything is meant to be posted on social media.
Exactly. For me, again, as you said, you can't tell people how to use these things. I can't tell you how to vent or how to go through your situations, how to react to situations. To me, I always encourage people to question your why. When you're posting it, why? Why are you posting it? Are you posting it for attention? And would you get the attention that you need? Like, actually be present when you're doing those things. I always say it's better to go through some of the situation before just going and post it in emotions, because in those times you tend to not be able to sift what you're posting, not be able to control how you're wording it. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, it's your page, but it becomes how social media is nowadays. It becomes part of your personality. People start to associate how you put things out to who you are. So in as much as we want to believe that how we post, what we repost is harmless, it is not. It's not.
You're starting to sound like me there, man.
I mean, we just talk too much. But no, it's not. And very important. I worked in HR for a while, and we don't look at those things. They look like hiring companies, recruiting companies. They look at those things. They look at what you post. What's your social footprint like? What's the kind of, is it in alignment to what we as an organization stand for? So you can't just be all willy-nilly on social media. You have to, yes, I understand that sometimes, and maybe even when I look back at my post, sometimes I'm like, why? Why you post them?
I know.
Why?
I know.
Them subliminals and them. Why? And something, Kimron, the haters thing. Is it? I'm thinking it has declined. There was this era where everybody on social media had a hater. Have you been seeing that?
Yeah, I remember when everybody was, the haters this and the haters that, and we're gonna stunt on the haters and the haters, whatever. And honestly, I haven't been seeing a lot of people posting about haters and haters make me famous and all them foolishness anymore. I haven't seen a lot of posts surrounding that, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that just dislike you for no reason, or will hate on you for no reason. I think that I hope that we are becoming more cognizant of the fact that it doesn't matter what you do or not do. People will talk about you. People will say all manner of evil things about you. Sometimes they don't even know you, but just the mention of your name, somebody might be talking. You might be talking to somebody, and you might say, "Yeah, Kimron Korean," and that person because of something that maybe somebody said to them, maybe whatever, or maybe something they see me posted online or whatever, something about me just rubbed them the wrong way. Because there are people who say, you know what, something about this person, my spirit and give with them, or it's like the spirit and give with them, and you didn't do anything to that person. But I know, for example, like one time, a very good friend of mine today, she told me the first time she saw me, she thought she didn't like me, period. She's like, I couldn't stand you. Like, I could tell you that now because we're good friends, but when we first met, I couldn't stand you. Like, she didn't know me, but she just felt like I was show off and whatever. And I don't know what I was doing. But sometimes what happens is some people sometimes project themselves onto you.
Yeah.
But the thing for me, and with the whole haters thing and whatever that is, I believe that, especially in the online space, because in the online space people spew a lot of hate.
Yeah.
You post something and people will come for you. And I know that is what has a lot of people scared to like post content. I know for me, even as a social media strategist, somebody who works with businesses on the social media game, for a minute, I held back, making videos, doing interviews, podcasts like these. I held back, writing blog posts. I held back doing like workshops and master classes and so on, because I thought, you know what, people might not like what I have to say, or they may come after me, or they may attack me for whatever I'm saying, or they might disagree with me, and whatever the case is. And for years, I actually held back, and I kind of kept myself back, because I let the thought of somebody else's opinion hold me back. But what I realize is that other people's opinion has nothing to do with you. Your opinion of me is your opinion of me. That has nothing to do with me. And on top of that, if you are going to take the time out of your day, you're going to take a few minutes of your 24 hours, your limited 24 hours in a day, to come to my post and to come and post a negative comment on my post, then I deploy some level of empathy towards you. Correct. Because to me, it's like, maybe, just maybe, you'll have this, like, maybe a miserable existence, and those few minutes that you're taking to shit on me, that might be the one thing that's giving you some joy in your life. So exactly. So I deploy empathy towards that, and I don't let that hold me back.
You are a little more evolved than me. You employ empathy, I employ pity. I'm sorry for you. I'm really sorry for you. I'm not trying to feel nothing for you, but sorry. I'm sorry for you. The thing, and I think I would have, I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, oh, thank you, Jesus, I would have graduated from that level of thought, where I think in the beginning, in early 20s, people's opinion would paralyze me. As in, I can't move because this person who, and in my early 20s, I was living in Trinidad, but people's opinion in Grenada was bothering me. Oh, this person I grew up with would be disappointed. This person they would not have expected this from me. Oh, look, she wearing earring now. All of them kind of things. But you said something about opinion. I have come to realize that everybody has a right to an opinion. You have a brain, you would formulate an opinion. That's good for you. Now, one of my motto is, I don't argue with opinion. That's yours. That's your right. If you want to share it with me, fine. It's up to, I might just watch on ball. Okay. Unless we are friends, exchanging ideas, your opinion really don't matter to me. However, what I have, after looking into and reading about self-awareness, I've also realized that feedback is necessary to have like a proper view of yourself. So in instances, others' opinions or observation, I won't say opinions, observation, feedback from other people is very important. And I was reading a book, and the author, Tasha Urich, she would have suggested that even people who don't necessarily have an in-depth understanding of you can provide you with feedback about yourself that can lead you to insights about yourself.
Well, remember, there is the whole idea of constructive criticism, right? So if somebody is giving you constructive criticism, then that is okay, because what we have to understand is that we all have what you call a personal brand. Online. We all have a brand online. Once you have a social media presence, once you have any presence on social media, and you mentioned it earlier on, anything you post, you will be judged by it. And you might think, well, I don't care if people judge me, whatever, but it is what it is. People are going to judge you based on the things that you post and the things that you do online. And it's really important, yes, like I say, to get feedback from people, because at the end of the day, if I am trying to portray myself out there as this digital media enthusiast, digital media professional, but then when you look at me, or when somebody else look at me, they're seeing something else. It means that there's I am out of alignment.
Yeah.
There's some problem. So then in cases like this, you definitely want feedback. What we need to realize is there's a difference between constructive criticism that you get from somebody and somebody who's trying to tear you down.
Correct.
And when somebody's trying to tear me down, that is when I tend to deploy some level of empathy towards them, because if you're gonna take time to try to do that, then something is wrong with you, not me.
Yeah.
All right. But if you want to give me constructive criticism about something, then I'm here for it.
Open to it. And the truth doesn't have to hurt.
No, I mean the truth definitely doesn't have to hurt. Like, the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth.
Is the truth. And a lot of times,
what it
like,
is.
Say, oh, I am. Who did you say, boy? I am. Oh gosh, basically trying to insinuate that I am so open or I am so honest that it will hurt. Like, people don't like my honesty because people don't like me because I'm very, very honest, and that does hurt feelings. No, sometimes we are not nice with the way we put out
Yeah,
truth,
exactly.
right?
And in those cases, sometimes you're just being an ass. Right?
Sometimes it just be. I can say ass on dropping. But yeah,
we dropping bars.
Jack, I'm telling you, because you could tell me something about me, in a loving way that would cause me to reach this level of insight that would make me want to change. Or you can tell me that same thing in a way that would cause me to recoil into myself and become less of myself, or, have a negative impact on even my mental health. There are ways that you put things out to people. When we want to give people the truth, it doesn't have to be harsh. It don't have to be a harsh truth. It could just be the truth in a loving way, right? It's the same. If you care about people and you care about developing people, you'd also care about how you make them feel. Right?
Exactly.
Emotional intelligence. Oh Lord, we're going all over here. But yes, emotional intelligence. And we spoke about it on Get Real Mondays, and some people was like, how I'm managing how other people feel. Yeah, you could actually. By the way you behave towards other people, you can't necessarily dictate how they feel, but you could manage how they feel. Right? Some people would be hurt and would feel a certain way no matter how you put things across to them. There are just some people like that who just don't like to hear things about themselves. That happens. But in most cases, the reason why people have negative reactions to us is because we are being asses. When we're trying and shrouding it in, the cloak of truth. No, you're being a ass to other people.
And that's just what it is. That's just what it is, because sometimes we believe that. Well, I know. I used to say it as well. I can't sugarcoat anything. I'm not a bakery.
Yeah, you can't sugarcoat it.
I'm not a bakery. And sometimes, but sometimes people you do need to give it to people straight and give them the raw truth, right? Yes. But I do believe it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I truly believe that. I truly believe it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yeah. Sorry, you were about to say something else?
I feel like if I wanted to ask you something, I just slipped my mind.
Well, you know what? It might come back. It might come back. But yeah. So, Lynn, as we talking about what you just mentioned, something that came to mind, as we were talking about the different things that, like, the when you speak about the truth and how people will say, you know what, I don't sugarcoat anything, and some of those I guess what you call sayings or things, like things that we hear, and somebody might post it on social media and you tend to agree with it. And one that came to mind, and I think it's one that actually I think I would have heard it sometime during the week. Something that I would have heard during the week, and I thought to myself, my first reaction to it was, and then hold on, I just started thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know if I agree with this anymore. Like I have agreed with this for the last 30 plus years. And now that I am thinking about it, and it had to do, and I heard, and I think I heard it on a podcast or something like that, where either the guest or the host said showing up is half the battle, right? It said showing up is half the battle. And then I'm like, yeah, because sometimes it's just so hard to show up. Like sometimes you got to show up. And then I thought to myself, and I'm like, wait a minute. Showing up is the least that you can do.
You could do. In my opinion, I'm not supposed to be skinny because sometimes I go to the gym.
Yeah.
Showing up is the
Showing
least.
up is the least you can do. And it's funny because it came back to mind as we were talking. And and that's something that we normally say, like showing up is half the battle, and then and I'm saying to myself, nah, like showing up is the least that you can do.
That's the very least you could do.
That's the very least you can do.
Look at it in relationships. Saying you're somebody's husband or wife, just saying it is the least you could do. Getting married, in as much as we love to make it out to be the end all be all, getting married, the actual wedding, and signing your name and becoming husband and wife, that's the least. The work is thereafter.
Exactly.
After the showing up.
And if you do nothing after showing up, it's everything is a waste.
Everything is a waste.
Everything gone to waste.
Same thing as showing up to work. You could come in people's workplace and sit down and do nothing. In that instance, showing up is the least you could do. Going into the exam room without having prepared, without writing a piece of nothing on them people's paper, that's the least you could do. What is the actual work is you putting in the effort, actually doing, even if you fail 99, 100 times, the fact that you did, that is the battle. That is the accomplishment. The fact that you put effort after you showed up. There are people who would go to places, like you go to the gym and you just do bare minimum. And what you would see in your results, bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
You mightn't lose a thing. You mightn't gain. You mightn't lose not one thing. You showed up, yeah. But what did that do for you? And the thing about, I think that statement, I understand what they want to do. But again, it comes in the whole feel-good thing of life that we love to sit down and be in. Like, everything must feel good. No, life is not for us to feel good, Okay, bro. Life is not for us to feel good. I've come to the realization, and some people might not like it, showing up is the least. That's because you reward yourself for doing bare minimum. You the feeling of yeah is me is a reward for doing bare minimum, right? And we're happy because we did bare minimum. So you start rewarding yourself, and you into this whole we into this era where happiness is the main goal for so many of us. So we tell ourselves these things. Showing up is the least you could do, or showing up is 50% of the battle. Nah, bruh. That's like what? That's like 1%.
And I think you know what why I think sometimes we tend to say this, or people tend to say this. I think it's because to get to a place where you can actually show up, it's hard. So for instance, let's say we're talking about the gym, right? And to really get somebody to a place where they can commit to going to the gym, to just wake up, let's say 4 o'clock every morning and head to the gym. Just waking up and getting to the gym itself is a big accomplishment. And sometimes, and I do that. I'm not a morning person, but now I wake up every morning, 4, 4:30, whatever, and I'm head to the gym, and I hate doing it. But I do it because I know what I want to accomplish. I'm disciplined, and I'm gonna show up. But then when I do that, I show up. Then when I get there, if I do that, that's the least that I can do now, because the truth is, when I get there, if I decide, you know what, I'm gonna sit outside and chat with the security for the next 2-3 hours, and then head back home.
From your goal.
I've made no progress. I've
No
made
progress at all.
zero progress
Yeah.
on my goal because I did not do the work.
Yeah. Now,
All right.
I want to ask you a question though, because this, I think, in talking to one of my other friends this week, I've come to the realization. Well, this thought came to me that the same happiness thing. How do you feel about people saying, "Oh, you have one life to live. Life is to be happy. The whole purpose in life is to be happy." What do you think about that?
I think that the happiness, if your ultimate goal is to be happy, I believe in that. I'll tell you why I believe that. I believe that because despite what we do, whether jobs, whatever action we take, when we take those actions, we want to feel some measure of satisfaction.
Right.
And I think those measure of satisfaction is we want to get to a certain level of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that at the end of the day, the ultimate goal in life is to be happy. And I'll tell you why. It seems as though you don't agree with me, but I'll tell you why. Right. So now we get into a debate. So let me explain myself. I do believe that the ultimate goal in life is to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I look at my life and everything that I am doing and working towards,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's I want to ensure that I can take care of my kids, that my business is doing well, that I'm podcasting because this is what I like doing. Like everything I'm partaking in, everything I'm doing in life, I'm doing it either because it makes me happy or because I want to accomplish something. And when I accomplish something, is because that maybe was a goal that I set for myself. And when I do that, at the end of the day, that makes me happy. So when I go through this, and this, then that the final thing that I get to is a place where I feel happy. What I disagree with is the idea that I need somebody to make me happy. That's the one thing I disagree with. I think that happiness is something that you have to aspire to and reach to that place on your own. In many cases, especially in relationships, we try to find somebody to make us happy. And when our happiness is dependent on somebody else, that becomes problematic. Because now it's like, okay, if that person is not showing up for you, then you could
Then
never be happy.
right.
Right? But I do think that ultimately
The goal is to be happy.
the goal is for me to be happy. I want to retire by the time I'm 45, so I could enjoy myself, enjoy my family, enjoy my kids, enjoy my wife, spend more time
Yeah.
together. I don't want to wait until I'm 60, 65, 70. When you're old and you're now trying to retire and you're now trying to like go on those cruise and trying to So I believe that. So let me hear your point of view on it.
So no, I don't subscribe to the feeling of or the thought that the whole purpose of life or the ultimate goal in life is to be happy. One, because happiness is an emotion, and as we know, emotions are fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
And emotions tend to be dictated by the situations and circumstances that exist. Right? We get happiness if something is up, we tend to be happy. Then we have periods in life when nothing is up. I think both of us would have experienced those things already.
Mm-hmm.
This period in life where nothing that we conventionally wanted, the job that we wanted, we don't have, money low, the relationship ain't working out too well, everything else, everything that we would have looked at to get happiness from, at the end of the day, is not where we want it to be. And to find that happiness, sometimes we can't find it. So then in that case, what do? So I don't subscribe to the happiness regime. What I do believe that is that we find happiness in certain circumstances. We take the happiness. I'm not shunning from happiness, you know. Any moment that can bring me happiness, I'm happy for. I am grateful for. But ultimately, I believe life is about development. I believe life is about realizing who you are, whosoever that is, and living that out to the fullest potential. Also, when it comes to things like when we get like adulthood, there are situations that we will have to be in that we will never be happy about.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say, for example, you are a social media strategist, and a lot of the work that you do is entrepreneurial, right?
Right.
However, you are also a husband. You're a father to two beautiful girls. And I don't think not I don't think, but your ideal situation would not be to hold on a 9 to 5.
Right.
But you have to do it because you have that responsibility to take care of. So you do it until you can do or you can find happiness where you want it to be. So I don't chase. To me, the reason why I don't chase happiness too is because a lot of the times these same realities, these same responsibilities, people tend to run away from them in pursuit of their own happiness. Right? So you have parents abandoning children because you know the weight of parenthood became so much that my happiness above all. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You have husbands abandoning wives because my happiness above all. It's not bringing me happiness. But at the end of the day, the journey is that's how I see it. The journey is that you find yourself in these situations. They build the character that God wants of you. Ultimately, He puts you in situations to mold you, to groom you, and some of the situations will never make you happy. Job wasn't happy. The man lost all. He wasn't happy, but all things work for his good. At the end of it all, he found joy. Joy and happiness is two different things. Joy is not dependent on situations. Joy is just a disposition. One of the fruits of the Spirit is joy because you find contentment in something that is outside of you and outside of your circumstances. So I really don't believe in the happiness regime.
Okay, so at the end, let's say you're going through something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say what is that, a tough marriage, or you're in a job that you hate and you just want to get out. Why do you believe that you're experiencing that level of, oh, I hate this job, or this whatever's happening in the relationship is not there for me, or maybe parenting those kids it's really tough. And then sometimes we tend to make decisions, I'm gonna quit this job, or I'm gonna run out on my kids, or I'm gonna walk away from this relationship, or whatever. Why do you believe we make those decisions?
I think like we all have this idea of how life was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
We grow up, hearing certain things. That's why a lot of people think the actual wedding is the end of the road, because we romanticize relationships to a point where the wedding is the culmination. In every almost all fairy tale, it ends at the wedding, right? We romanticize getting a job to the point where you think you get a certain position and all of a sudden you've made it. We romanticize babies. Oh, when you go through, women go through life or death to make a child, right? I've never done it. But women go through life or death to make a child. And you'll hear people saying, as soon as you see that child, everything would have disappeared. That lady just pushed out her whole life. And you tell me the sight of the child make her forget the trauma. So nobody talks about the after. And so a lot of us from the Caribbean, a lot of us grow up just seeing up to that point where it was a joyous occasion. So when we think about life or a happy occasion, so when we think about life and we envision life, we conceptualize what it would have been to have an ideal life. We reach up to that point. And as such, we cannot handle what comes when real adulthood hits. Right? So when you make that child, you think automatically that everything should be about love. There shouldn't be no uncomfortable feeling around the child. There wouldn't be a time when you would want to shake the child. Apparently, it has happened. Parents tell me that I can't speak about it, but
it does happen. It does happen. Trust me. They don't test your gangster. Trust me.
Yes. So parents tell me to have points where you watch the child and you're like, I'm not sure if I like you. You understand? You reach the job, you're getting all the money you get, but then it encroaches on another part of your life that you also hold in high esteem and you think is very important to you. So for me, for example, I'd have just gotten a little promotion. God, Lord Jesus, you just pray for the little blessings and them. But you doesn't necessarily cater for what comes with the blessings. You understand? You want the level up, but the level up requires something else of you. And if you're not prepared, that same thing that you prayed for, that same job that you liked, you then become hateful of. The same partner. When we talk about marriage, is a whole different thing too. Because at the end of the day, I believe the purpose of marriage is not necessarily a happy something. If your partner that live with you on a day-to-day basis, them could tell you things about yourself that have you questioning everything you ever, and we talk about feedback. Them could give you the most accurate feedback because they see you in a way that is much more intimate than anybody else. And if you're not ready for that level of exposure, you can tend to want to run away from it. If you're not ready for the type of work it requires for you to be a good partner, a good parent, a great worker, you could run away from the thing. And then there are certain jobs, there are certain marriages. I would never say run out on your children. So I'll forget that. Make them children, mind them children.
That's for sure.
You understand? But there are certain marriages, there are certain jobs that really and truly don't necessarily work out for the best of you. It's not just about happiness. It's about health as well, whether it is physical, mental, spiritual. If it's not working out for the best of you, and you'd have done all that you could have done, you walk away. And in that instance, it don't necessarily mean, it's not necessarily about happiness. It's about self-preservation. It's about growth. It's about the bigger picture. That's all I say.
And for me, for me, that bigger picture that you finally mentioned is a place where you're happy. And here's why I'm saying that, because I don't think that happiness is a destination where you get to that place and okay, you're happy and you have no more trials, no more tribulations, you have no more pain, you have no more nothing. But you're in a place where you can deal with whatever pain that comes, whatever trials that come, whatever tribulation that come, because you're in that space. I think happiness is a journey. And at the end of the day, it's not like we get to that, we get to a place called happiness and we're living in bliss, and we're living in bliss, right? So, right. This thing about happily ever after means that there's no more pain. As long as we're living, there's gonna be pain because you might find somebody might die, or you might be there might be an economic crash and then you might lose your business, right? So these things happen. But for me, ultimately, what I say, the goal is the ultimate goal is happiness, is because I genuinely don't think that anybody does anything in life because they want to be miserable or because they want to be. I'm just doing that, and I'm not thinking about happiness per se, but I'm just doing that. Like sometimes we might take a job because we realize that that's not the job I want, huh? Like I really don't want that job.
Right.
But I'm gonna take it because I have my bills to pay.
Right.
And you're doing it, and then you're miserable. And in your head, it's like all you can think about is getting out, doing
Yes.
something else, finding something else. No, that may never happen. Right? Because maybe you don't have the skill set, you don't have whatever, or you just didn't take any action towards that new to try to get out of that situation that you're in. Right? However, you keep thinking the reason why we're thinking about quitting the job, or the reason why we're thinking about maybe running away from the relationship, or just leaving them children for a night by themselves. Let them figure it out and just go and just
For a night
you know, just go for a night out, whatever. Right? The reason why we want to do that is because there is that feeling. There is that feeling of, and I'm going to use the word happiness, that we're looking for. That we want to feel, like you correctly said, that happiness is an emotion, right? It's one of those action oriented emotions, make us want to do. So for me, when I say I believe that the ultimate goal is to be happy, that's because despite what we're going through, it doesn't matter when we go into pain. Nobody, absolutely nobody, wants to remain in that pain. Nobody finds pleasure in that pain. Well, depending on what kind of pain. Some people, in certain situations, all right, all right. But at the end of the day, and I low-key think that when you really break down what I'm saying and what you're saying,
it's on the same level.
It's almost at the same level, because
Yeah.
I feel like what you were saying is, and maybe it's how I put it too, is that it came across as if, well, you're gonna get to a place whereby you're happy and you're happy forever.
You're happy forever.
And that's just not possible, because
that's not possible.
As long as you're living, you're going to have certain pain, certain discomfort, right?
Yeah.
However,
No.
for me, happiness is that journey to, and that's we always look and aspire to be happy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants pain.
I don't want anybody to think I have a problem with happiness. I mean, I've taken all, as I told you guys, I am taking all the happy moments. My philosophy, though, I think, is at the end of it, to be fulfilled.
Right.
Right? To be fulfilled. It might come off like a boring and blah, but at the end of it.
No, but then that's your happy place when you're fulfilled.
Fulfilled. And exactly that.
Somebody happy place might be when they have $1 million in the bank and they can just go on vacation right through. That may not be your happy place. Your happy place might not be going on vacation right through. Mine's might be. So happiness is subjective. It depends on the people. But ultimately, I think that at the end of the day, that's what we aspire to, despite whatever we're facing.
Yep, facts. I mean, I like that we just have these things. It's always these kind of conversations where we think we're on a different trend, but it does always end up aligned at some point.
In the same place.
It's always end up
Right.
aligned. The thing is, my memory going real crazy because you talking and it had something. I was like, I must ask, what is going on with my memory?
You know what? And I just realized that we actually exhausted. Could you believe that we've exhausted all the time already? Like could you believe that it's almost an hour? And I feel like we started talking like 10 minutes ago.
10 minutes ago, talk the most one and talk the most two.
Tell me about it.
We talk too many. But
I'm telling you.
I think, like, I always love to be in these kind of conversations because it opens up the mind. I think for me, it was a really harsh coming to when you get into the adulthood and realize things not working out the way that you thought it would have. My friend Shanna, she's like my best friend. She just be like, Lynn, we was good girls.
Shanna G, I'm a charge you.
Shanna would say, Lynn, we was good girls. How come it ain't working out? We did everything they say to do. And
Listen.
we tried our best. We go to convent and we study hard. And we did everything they say to do. And then we end up in adulthood like...
Yeah, but you see, and I think that's the problem, Elaine, because we did everything that they said to do.
They said.
But what they said to do is based on their experience.
Correct.
And their life experience may not be our life experience. Correct. So, for example, if you're going through something and you come to me for advice, I could only give you advice on what you're going through based on my own experience with that thing, and my experience with that thing might not be the same way. So, for example, you might say, "Well, I did everything they said I was supposed to," but did you do everything that you was supposed to for you? Not what they said you're supposed to, but what you're truly supposed to. They might say to you, "Oh, you're supposed to go to university and get a degree," but then what's supposed to happen for you? Maybe you were supposed to start a business, skip university, and then by now you have a successful thing going, and that is what the ultimate thing is.
Yeah, I think we need to teach people, children, young adults, to be independent in thought enough to assimilate what other people say, however, to question it as well. You know, to feel comfortable enough to question. I am happy though that I think I'm looking at the last time I had a youth panel. I always say that was the best program Get Real Mondays we've ever had. Just to hear how young people think. I have a young man now that I call my son, and I just be like, how come all is so bright? How come all is so bold at this age? Because I think they're exposed to so much more now that they start questioning, they start living truly based on what they believe because they have confronted beliefs earlier. So I'm happy for the young people for that. And I want to encourage people who may be out there, you know, old like me, and you have not confronted. You're a little uncomfortable, you know. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to try new things. It's okay to give up something that you used to believe in and you're no longer believing it. If it's something that you have to come back to, the way life set up, you will come back to it. Right? Yeah, and the one thing, what I wanted to say while you were talking, he came back, huh? What I wanted to say is that there are certain struggles that we go through, and what I've learned is that you don't pray away struggles too fast, because after one storm, another one must come. As you rightly say, it will never always be happy. Careful of the storm that you pray away. You might be praying away a little Emily and then realize it's Ivan in the back, you know. You understand?
That one to prepare you for what is to come.
I'm telling you. So if Emily going on now, and those Grenadians would understand what I say about Emily. Although Ivan came before Emily, I just say it. But if Emily going on now, that's okay. Go through Emily. Don't try to run through her. Go through the storm. Pick up the lessons from the storm. Clean up the debris from the storm. And let time happen. Let things happen as they're supposed to happen. Don't rush through any moment in life. If anything with my job has taught me is that you must pass the fundamentals. You must pass the fundamentals. You must start here. Clean slate always. And then you learn. And as you learn and you gather the lessons and you apply the lessons, that's the only way you go to the next stage. After one storm is the next. Be contented with what you're going through now because you don't know what you're going to meet up in the next 5 years. And we just romanticize the next 5 years. You really don't know. You're not a fortune teller. You really don't know.
Absolutely. And Lynn, what better way to close off this episode of Dropping Bars? And you know, I feel like we could have continued because some of the things that you just mentioned, I know I could have jumped off and I wanted to, but I'm cognizant of time and I know you also have something to do as well. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Bars Nation, we were talking with Lynnes there. As you can see, we didn't come with a topic, anything in particular. You know, when Lynn and I are talking, we just talk. We just talk about different things. And
problem, guys. We talk a lot.
Exactly. We talk too much. paradise SDA people. That's how we stay. You know, right? So Lynn, thank you for stopping by. I know you're gonna be back on the pod. So thank you for being here, Bars Nation. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dropping Bars. And Lynn, before you go, is there anything else you want to say?
Yes, I do. I want to say that I'm extremely proud of you. You know, you're doing the thing.
Oh, thank you.
So I say it in private. I like to give people their flowers. So I'm very, very proud of you. I mean, we all, as you say, paradise people, paradise SDA people. Mm-hmm. You know, we all grew up in a certain area, you know, from certain socioeconomic backgrounds, and we all had dreams. And I'm just so proud, and I admire the way that you go after yours. I mean, the consistency and the discipline, that is my lesson. God been trying to teach me that. He's saying, sister, that's one lesson you ain't getting, but you do it really, really well. So I'm proud of you, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
And you know, as you mentioned that, I'm gonna ask. I said I wasn't gonna do anything else, but I'm gonna ask you one thing, and then I'm gonna close it off.
Okay.
If you found, and that's something from the last dropping bar, something that the guest asked Jovis Dabrio. If you found the fountain of youth,
yeah,
what will you do? Will you drink or will you not drink?
No,
you're not drinking.
I'm drinking.
Why not?
I saw it. And I was like, drink, boy, come on, me stay young? No, I mean, what if the fountain of youth not keeping you at this age?
Yes.
I mean, but no, I can't, just thinking about living in this world for forever is much, boy. Too much
pressure.
Too much pressure. I just, in as much as it's scary, I am happy that I know that there's a designated time for me here. And what it brings is the comfort of knowing that you don't have, because you know you don't have all the time, you have to have to be the best that you can be. You have to, it provides a drive and a motivation because you know there's an expiry date, and the thing about it is we don't know when the expiry date is. So for me, that is the impetus that keeps me moving and say, listen, your time is limited, so you have to do what's necessary. I can't do the whole unlimited time. It will be overwhelming for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So thank you, Liz, for coming on to the podcast. Bars Nation, again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week. So everybody, have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Yo, a brightest tower representing, dropping bars with Kimran Korean. It's all about life lesson in a youth. Bob Marley do it with him mouth, Zidane do it with him foot. Never doubt yourself. Never lose the focus. Just some more positive content, you know. Fully provision. Good meditation. Dropping bars and I build the motivation. Yo, Kimran Korean. Every ghetto youth, them a pre-elevation. Stop carry feelings, focus on the arts and craft. Get rid of all malice and dirty art, youth. Work hard, believe in your dreams. These are the motivation tips, dog. Success strategies. Energy follow energies. Negative follow negativity. There is a free will to creativity. It's a journey within. Cause we dropping bars. Dropping bars. Dropping bars. We keep going hard. Going hard. Going hard. We keep dropping bars. Dropping bars. Dropping bars. Dropping bars. Dropping bars. We keep going hard. Going hard. Going hard. Dropping bars. Dropping bars.